What is up, you damn gorgeous, beautiful gamers? Welcome back. Role-playing games. This is Mariel Corner in the internet, where we like to discuss about RPGs. If you like the content, if you like to have these conversations, Mariel James, very much like to invite you, like always, to hit the like button, because it really helps me, like you have no idea. Also, most of the people that watch my content are in fact not subscribed to my channel, so what are you waiting for? In today's video, we're going to start a kind of a series where I'm going to be reviewing every single plague weapon in Thymesia, and it might actually help you to decide which weapon would you like to use, or maybe convince yourself that if you have not tried a specific weapon, then you might as well decide to use a new weapon for a new playthrough, or if you are just starting out your brand new playthrough, decide which weapon is for you. In today's video, we're going to speaking about the bow, which is, in my opinion, one of the strongest plague weapons that you can find in this game. As a matter of fact, I believe that this is the cheesiest plague weapon that you can find, and that it will make your game a whole lot easier. Although, little disclaimer, well, we'll get to that in the review, but there are some downsides of this thing that we're going to get into the review. First and foremost, availability. When can you get this thing? This thing, you will be able to get it from the second stage of the game, the second level of the game. It's weird to say because the game has like 3 levels, and then those 3 levels are divided into different zones. But the very first time that you will encounter this weapon, it's going to be right here on the Royal Garden. It's actually going to take you quite a while until you find the enemy and until you can find it. So there is that. This is the very first place that you are going to find the weapon. So that being the case, let's speak about what can we do with this weapon. Let me see if I can find my tools right here. There we go. So, the first level, we have the basic action for the very first 3 levels. We're going to get damage increases up to a maximum of 300 attack damage and 600 amount of wounds. And also when interrupting enemy critical attacks, because that's one of the main things about this thing, is that you can use to parry this thing to interrupt enemy critical attacks. And then we have the extended action, which is going to allow you to cast a second arrow right after you have just shot your first one. And then the upgrades from there are just going to be energy cost. And another amazing thing is this, it really doesn't cost that much of energy. It's just when you max out the weapon, it's going to be 40 energy, and that's it. I mean, that's actually quite amazing. So let's speak about the gameplay of this thing and see why is it so goddamn good and overpowered and cheesiest. Honestly, it is a very cheese weapon. The thing is that more often than not, you're going to use this weapon with a build that is focused on regaining energy. Now, basic enemies, when you have fully upgraded your weapon, I did not have it fully upgraded, but it's just missing 1 level. It's all about energy. But you can see right here that with basic enemies, I can just take them away with a single hit, at least the amount of wounds damage. Just 1 single hit is going to be enough for me to deal with them. And then, since you're already from a distance, you can charge up your claw attack, and then you're going to finish them up. One amazing thing about this weapon, and if you make a build about this, is that you have this thing as a main means of using plague weapon, but since you're always attacking from a distance and from a safe spot, you're always going to be charging up your claw attack to be able to take away the plague weapon that enemy is in front of you using. So you're never going to be running out of plague weapons and versatility to play with this thing. And also, it does not really matter if you fight against stronger enemies with this thing, because, well, this is just a basic enemy, and like I said, I can just cast a single arrow and then use my claw, and that's it. It's just simple as that. But then you have some of the most complex enemies, some of the strongest enemies, and then you fire the second one and it's just going to be the very same thing. He's going to run towards you and then you finish him up with your claw attacks. Well, that didn't actually go as I intended to, but you can get the point. It is still very cheesy, and if you combine this thing with some other talents, and you're using your claw effectively, like for example the execution, maximum execution talent is going to give you energy back. If you are running out of energy, then you can use your claw to take your energy back. It's just all in all an amazing weapon. So for builds, versatilities, it's amazing. Like, even when you're fighting against boss fights, some of them will always be on your face, but if you take certain specific talents, you can actually get advantage from the bosses. And I'm going to recommend you some talents that I, pardon the redundance, I recommend taking with this weapon. So the very first one, for the playstyle that I have just shown you, which is this one, you get away from an enemy, cast the thing, charge up your your claw, and then that's it. That's an execution. And since that's an execution, you're going to be using this one right here. The healing execution level 2, which increases the amount of energy restored after successfully performing an execution. Every time you execute an enemy, you're going to get your energy back. And then we have this one, Energized Claws level 2. Whenever Corvus deals damage through claw attacks, more energy will be restored. This is just self-explanatory. You are using energy, so much energy, with this plague weapon, because at the end of the day, if you use this plague weapon, this is going to be your first means of damage. I would even say that it's pointless to use your basic regular attacks to deal damage to the wounds health bar of the enemy when you have this thing, and you're always away from enemy's danger. And one downside of it all is mechanics. You know, this game is so rich in mechanics. You have so many tools to deal with enemies. And one of the most amazing tools, specifically with bosses, is this thing. I'm sorry, I just suck at the game way too bad. But there we go. That's a deflect. And this guy isn't really attacking me that much. But there are enemies, more aggressive enemies, that will actually indeed fight you so aggressively that the flow of battle feels like if you're playing Sekiro. It feels like a dance. It feels amazing to be deflecting enemies and to see that health of the enemy deplete because of how skilled you are. Not gonna lie, by using this thing, I feel like this is the easy mode of the game, because I cannot stress this enough. Like, take a look at this. This doesn't require any skill. I just press 2 buttons. I press 2 buttons and the enemy is dead. That is mainly everything that anything you have to do for every single enemy with this plague weapon. So I would say that this is an S level plague weapon, one of the most broken plague weapons that you can find in the game. That being said, if you find the information useful, if you like to have these conversations with me, RPJames, I'd very much like to invite you to click that like button, like always, and subscribe to the channel before you close the door. Remember that if no one has told you today that you're a gorgeous and beautiful person, you are indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person. Have a beautiful day, and I'll be seeing you goddamn gorgeous and beautiful people in the next one. Goodbye.